Hi, welcome to Spanish 101, and today we're going to be talking about the direct object pronoun and its placement. Our hopes is that by the end of this video you'll be able to understand what's the best or where's the placement, the appropriate placement of the direct object pronoun, and I'll be also introducing the acronym NCBPIG that will help you know and understand this better. So here's our acronym, and this is what we're going to be using today. This acronym is very popular among our Spanish courses here on campus because I find it to be very specific on where to place the direct object pronoun based on what sentence you're trying to say. So it's NCVPIG, and each one of them stands for something, and we're going to go deeper into those. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on the verb right here. I've highlighted it in green because that's going to be our starting point. Whenever you're trying to write a sentence with a direct object pronoun, you're always going to be using the verb as a center point or a starting point in determining where to put the direct object pronoun. So now let's go ahead and see. So N stands for negative command, C conjugated verb, V verb, P positive command, I infinitive, and this is an infinitive verb, and the last one is G stands for gerund or the ing ending in English. So let's say that you are writing a negative command. For example, in English we could say, don't eat that. That's a command. So in Spanish, if we are given a negative command, what we're going to do is the pronoun, it's always going to go before the verb. So that's what this stands for, and that's what I'm saying. The B is going to be an important starting point for you because based on the kind of verb you have, that's where you're going to place it. For example, if you had a verb in the gerund in your sentence, it means that the pronoun is going to go after the verb. Okay. If you had an infinitive verb, it means that the pronoun is going to go after your infinitive verb. If you had a positive command right here, it means that your pronoun is going to go after the verb. So I hope this is making a little bit of sense, and we're going to go and look at some examples. For example, so what kind of sentence do we have here? So this one, yo tengo las flores. So it's not a command, so it's not a negative command, right? Because we don't have a negative construction. It's also it's not a positive, so let's just eliminate. So it's not a negative command. It's not a positive command. So this is our verb, right? So that's what we have to find first. Is it an infinitive verb? No, it's not. And is it a gerund? No, it's not. A gerund in this case will be, that will be the gerund. So we don't have a gerund. Therefore, the only option that we have left is conjugated verb. So this sentence fits in this category and means that the pronoun is going to be written before the verb. In this case, okay, so now we know it's going to go before the verb, so now let's replace. So, yo tengo las flores. We have our subject, our verb, and this is going to be our direct object. Okay? Next, we're going to replace that for the pronoun. In this case, las. So that will be our second step. Our first step is identify what they are. The second step is identify the direct object pronoun. And our third step is to write it including the direct object pronoun. So here, and based on NCBPIG, we know that the pronoun is going to go before the verb. Yo las tengo. And notice how we're following what our acronym is basically saying. We have a verb, and since this sentence fits in this category, conjugated verb, we're going to put it before our verb. Okay? So let's do another example. Okay, so our next example is yo estoy comiendo tacos. I'm eating tacos. So now let's find out where is our verb. So our verb, we have two verbs actually. We have this one and we have this other one. But notice how we have a gerund right there. In this case, gerund, it's going to be the type of sentence we have. We don't have a negative command, we don't have a positive command. We have a conjugated verb, but the gerund, it's always going to win over a conjugated verb. So we don't have that, and it's there, we don't have an infinitive, so it's going to be a gerund. So whenever in a sentence you have a gerund, you are automatically going to go with that, okay? So now we've identified, this means that the pronoun, it's going to go after the verb, okay? After our gerund. So now let's do step one, identify the everything on our sentence. Subject, auxiliary verb, our verb, and then our direct object, because we are eating the tacos, they're receiving the action. Our second step is identify the direct object pronoun. In this case it's going to be los, because it's plural and masculine. And step three, it's to write down the direct object pronoun in the right place. In this case, we know it's going to be after the verb. Yo estoy comiéndolos. And notice how when we have a gerund, we attach the pronoun and make one word. So remember to always make one word when they go at the end of the sentence, okay? And so yeah, specifically with gerund, that's when you have to attach. And another thing you have to watch out for is the accent. If you need to make sure you understand where the stressed syllable is. Comiendo. So we have to do that. Comiendo. So our stress level is going to be there. That's why we have to add an accent. When you add an extra pair of letters, you have to add an accent. Yo estoy comiendo los. Comiéndolos. Okay? Perfect. So now let's do one more. Okay, so here we have a command. Is it a positive command? Yes. So we're going to avoid those because we already found it. It's going to be a positive command. So this is what it's saying is, if it's a positive command, the pronoun is going to go after verb. Okay? So again, we have our direct object here. And in the commands, notice that there's not a specific subject, but since it's a command, it's something that I'm stating, something that I'm saying to someone else. I'm commanding someone to do it. So in this case, we have the direct object, and this is our verb. So first step, we identify the roles. Second step, we identify the pronoun. In this case, los, again. And the third step, we rewrite the sentence. And that's where we put the pronoun, cómalos. Also, we have to make sure we know where the stressed syllable is. Coma. So the stressed syllable is going to be here. And we want to keep that as the stressed syllable, so we have to do an accent. Cómalos. Because we need to keep that accent as well. Okay, so again, positive command, the pronoun goes after the verb attached to it. Okay, perfect. Let's do another one. Okay, the next one, No coma los tacos. Now we have a negative command, so it's not going to be any of these. So negative command means that we're going to put the pronoun before the verb. So let's do that. So here we have our verb and then our direct object. So that's our first step. Second step is we have to find the appropriate pronoun. In this case it's going to be los, because it's masculine and feminine, that's the pronoun. And then third step, rewriting the sentence including the pronoun. And based on our NCB pig, it means that we're going to write the pronoun before the verb. No, los, coma. Okay, notice how when it's before the verb, it's not attached to any other verb. It just stands by itself. So that's how we do when we have a negative command. Okay? And let's do one more. Yo quiero comer tacos. Okay, so let's find out what type of sentence we have. We don't have a negative command. We don't have a positive command. There's no gerund. There's a conjugated verb, but we have another verb. So when that happens is when you have two verbs and one is conjugated and the other one is not, you're gonna go with the infinitive. Or in other words, if you have two verbs in the same sentence and one is in the infinitive, then you're gonna go for that option, okay? So based on NCB pig, it means that we have to write our pronoun after the verb. Okay? So, let's do the same thing. Here we have a subject, we have an auxiliary verb, and then we have a verb and our direct object. So that was our first step. Second step is we have to identify the direct object pronoun, which is going to be los. And third step, we rewrite it, including the direct object pronoun. So here, it's telling after the verb, so we're going to add it after our infinitive verb. Yo quiero comerlos. Okay? Perfect. So there you go. So now we've attached it to the end. So whenever you have a positive command, infinitive, or a gerund, and you place the pronoun at the end, you have to always attach it. Okay? And whenever you have a gerund and positive command, you're always going to need an accent. Remember that we had to write an accent when we attach the pronoun to the end. So those are going to require for you to add an accent, but when it's an infinitive, you don't need to add an accent. In this case, you don't have to add an accent, even though you added that extra syllable over there. So that's pretty much what NCB pig stands for. So I hope this was useful for you, and I know that it's gonna become handy when you try to master, when you become better at using direct object pronouns. Just remember the characteristics and the examples that we reviewed in this video, and you'll be able to do it correctly. Thank you.